that was, well, I just pushed a random button and it did a thing. I am okay with this. Anyways, welcome back to another fun and fine episode of the Washed Out Hobbyist. As always, I am Rob. And today we're going to be doing something a little different. I know I've been on a Mordheim kick recently, on and off again kind of a thing. But today we're doing something actually a little different. Paint video. More or less, some of the processes I go to conceptualizing, like what I paint and the color choices. But we're going to take a little bit of an interesting twist on that. You over there, you're for a different day. Today is going to be all about that Blood Bowl, or in particular, Blitz Bowl. So, basically, an orc team. Okay, so first of all, first thing we're going to do here, shake up a bottle of WAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA Getting ill for the kill. That's you know, that is what being an orc is all about. At least in, Blood Bowl 40K, all of that stuff. Because they's the boys. Get a little water mixed in there. Okay. So first, we're going to start just with this thrower man's. And we work light and fast, making sure to cover all the gritty details that make an orc an orc. Now, as they say, you want to do 2 thin coats, which is good, because unless you're using a spray primer, which makes it faster and easier, how do I put it? So, like, unless you're using a spray primer and doing it fast and, nice even coats, you really got to emphasize on the, 2 thin coats kind of a thing, because you're not going to just get it all. You're not going to just get it all in one go, and that's okay. That's okay. Patience wins the day. So yeah, we're going to just get this guy all covered up. We don't care about getting the base dirty with green. We don't care about that. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll just come back later. There's a couple of methods you can do to fix that. But the main thing is just get this guy all covered. I do nowadays kind of prefer using a spray primer method, but I'm a little short on what's going on with that. So here we go. Using a brush like this where the bristles are all frayed and everywhere, just perfect for base coating, because we don't care about taking care of the brush like that. We just make sure to clean it off so that the paint doesn't dry on it. And we're gonna let that guy kind of sit like that, and then immediately just start working on the next pour sod. So the first guy I painted is an orc thrower. This is the classic orc team. So with the new edition of Blitz Bowl, like the new ultimate starter set of Blitz Bowl, we got the orcs for the for one of the teams, which they were a part of the first Blood Bowl or Blitz Bowl set, not Blood Bowl. What am I saying? So with the newest edition of the ultimate edition of Blitz Bowl, we got a dwarf team and we got an orc team. Now, the interesting thing about both teams is they were both featured in the first 2 boxes of Blitz Bowl as the opposition to the human team. So the human team right now has like 3 boxes that if you were collecting it, you'd be 1/2 box away from having a full human roster, which is really kind of cool. And I mean that in the sense of you have like at least 4 blitzers, which is something you really want to have with humans. It is so good to have that. But yeah, basically though, the long story short, the orcs came in the first box, and they were one of the teams in the first Blood Bowl set from 2016. Um, you know, and it was not a bad value either. You got the core book, you got 2 teams, you got the pitch, you got the measuring stick. You got all the stuff you needed to like play. And when I say measuring stick, I don't mean like you measure to move. For those of you that are not initiated, you measure for the purpose of throwing the ball to see, how many penalties are you gonna receive for throwing the ball. All right, now that blitzer's done, we're gonna move on to the big unblocker. This guy is important because he hits hard. He hits like a ton of bricks. But ooh, gotta be careful of that. There we go. He hits like a ton of bricks. But back to Blood Bowl. So yeah, you basically got a pretty good deal. Happens. But you got a pretty good deal buying the box. But in my personal opinion, the best way to complete the human team is to buy 2 boxes of it. And that's, for the most part, all you would ever really need. You're getting your 2 throwers. You could play up to 4 catchers. Like, that is a distinct possibility in the game of Blitz Bowl. Or Blood Bowl, not Blitz Bowl. But then again, you're getting your 4 catchers when you buy your boxes. You can't really run 4 throwers. You run in 2. But at that point, though, like a good character to, or a good model to add to your human team, I would highly recommend, is an ogre. They are funny. They are painful. And in some ways, they're really just like a leveling point because, some of these other teams get to bring strength 5 characters. And it's good to be able to have like one guy that if you boost him against like another strength 5 character, you have that aspect of I can hit you just as hard as you can hit me now. Sadly, sadly though, there are some players, or some teams that can have more than one strength 5 player, and then you're in some trouble if you lose your guy and they still have their other 2-3 guys that are strength 5. Okay, that's another one done. Which, here's what we're gonna do. Move that bottle out of the way. Move you here, and come on, go, you there. All right, now we're gonna just work on the next guy. Basically, I am doing fast motions, like doing all kinds of make things happen kind of thing. All right, getting that all covered up. Okay, and now that we got this lovely gentleman covered up in green almost, it'll be about time to move on to the next person, which I think here I might just pause the video for just a moment to get a cup of water because it's a little warm over here. I didn't account for that to be a thing. Which this is like something that I'm going to start doing from now on, is doing paint tutorials and videos on my desk. Because we had to rebuild my PC, Charlie, to play, Space Marine 2, because Charlie couldn't handle it. I mean, I have a new PC now. There's only like 2 things we got from Charlie to keep into my new PC. Basically, I unfortunately lost one of my 3 monitors, so it kind of honestly cleared up some space. I'm a little sad, though, that I lost one of my monitors, because that actually made doing this a little easier, because I could have multiple windows up to do, to do this, and to be able to check, like, things without having to, get off the, move one of the other screens to doing something else, rather, let me try to formulate a proper sentence. I miss having my third PC monitor because it made it easier to put up videos, to keep track of this middle screen that has like essentially my recording device that I'm recording YouTube videos on, and also be able to put on my copyright-free music that I've been using for my intros. It's not my music, but at the same time, I've been using it to put in some ambience in the thing. But it's been a little more of an interesting learning curve, trying to figure out just how to adjust to what is currently going on in this situation with me losing a monitor. I definitely miss it because it made it easier to have, okay, I've got Discord up over here to keep track of things. I've got on this middle one here, I've got essentially OBS up to record the video, and over there, monitor number 3, the lefty, I've got for other things that I may need, like playing music, looking up information, that kind of stuff, which really is going to make it more interesting when I do notes on Willet Army, if I ever make another video about that soon, which I think I might off of the Tau Empire's Kroot Army box, which I actually really like the Kroot. I think they're cool. But anyway, so we're going to paint this orc green, get the last guy green, and then we're going to take a small film break so I can get a cup of water and check what my AC is set to. Because, boy howdy, is it warm over here. And I am not a fan of warm. I prefer the cold. I need the cold. So yeah, we're going to keep this going. Keep this going, which, I wonder. Should I do this? Maybe? Does this, or maybe it's that. That, am I coming in a little more clear? I think so. There we go. Okay, I think that might, because one of my friends was telling me that they were having a hard time hearing me on this thing, and I've been trying to figure out what is the problem, and I think it's the fact that I haven't been keeping my microphone close enough to my face to be able to keep track of that. So that's a little annoying to maybe now just discover where I've been going wrong with the production. Again, it's the things we learn along the way. Not the friends we made, the things we learned. Okay, now that that little feller is finished, we're going to take a... oh, jeez, there's not a pause option. Well now. Huh. Um, hmm. Is there... Nope, nope. Let's see. Settings? No, maybe? Appearance? Definitely not that. No. There we go. Okay, so we'll just have to, you know, just keep on trucking. So, for future videos, always keep, yeah. If you're going to do YouTube, make sure that you have everything you need within a disposable distance. All right, but now that it's been basically long enough. Oh wait, no, you are still drying, friendo. Where's that thrower? Okay. Okay. One of these days I need to actually get a video editor. Just kind of learn how to edit on my own. Okay. There we go. There we go. Nice, even colors. We really got to get it into that. Really got to get it in there. Okay, there we go. Come on, get it in there. There we go. All right, that is one orc that is completely primed. And it's looking like we are going to have to actually put some more paint on the slate. All right, get more in there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Get that all up ends. There we go. Okay, here we go. There we are. A little more. And yeah. So, okay. So yeah, basically we's trying to make them all mean and green. That is the very life essence of an orc, is to be mean and to be green and to be one of the boys. Although these are not the 40k boys, so it's not nearly the same concept, because they're not psychic mushrooms that reproduce by spreading spores around. But, you know, it's still kind of funny. All right. With their explosive violence. Okay. You know, if I had any brains at all, and I'd like to think that I do, I would be using a tool appropriate for the job that I am doing. But it turns out that I have no idea where that tool actually is. And therefore, that tool is useless to me because I simply do not have the tool. But I digress. We carry on in spite of not having the tool that would make my life easier, because it would make it easier. It would make it a little more manageable, but the current state of affairs for what I'm doing is not impossible. Without it, that is. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then, see, get that in there. Come on. Now, that's the thing I hate about some of these tighter spaces, is, well, they are hard to reach with this kind of a brush. The problem is, I'd also be risking a detail brush if I did it wrong. And sometimes I do it wrong, so I don't want to risk my detail brush that way. All right, but yeah, basically though, we're getting somewhere. This guy's almost done. Honestly, this is just a really cool orc model. This blocker man, regular old blocker. It's really freaking cool. I actually really like this guy. There you go. Okay, silly little goob of a boy. Okay, and now to our last lineman. All right, and so this is my process for basing. All right, so with that pretty much figured out right there, you know, there might be a setting for like, yeah, here in a second, I might just look up in the settings, or actually after this video, look up for the settings to see if I can't find how to make a pause button for this. And it's something I am going to figure out, that I want to be the one figuring it out on my own, because it actually makes my wife more proud of me when I figure things out on my own with computers. My upbringing, I was not really taught much about how to use computers. I lived out in the middle of nowhere, not really allowed to touch a lot of computer things, and yeah, I did not understand much about them, how to take care of them or any of that. Okay, so now that we've got that figured out, let me see. Is it file? So that's tools. Start collection. Doc source controls. No, we need all that. Edit. Okay. That's interface. Docs. Tools. Maybe it's in settings. Hotkeys. That's what I'm looking for. Pause recording. No, 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 no. We need K. Okay. Okay, and then if I hit this button, nope. We're still stuck with this, So hold on, edit. Where did I find that? Wait, it was file. Let me see. Where is the hotkeys? Yeah, pause recording. Oh. Okay, so we apply that, and we hit OK, and then, nope. We'll have to do that another time then. Okay. So after you initially finish, go over the miniatures again, because sometimes you just don't see it in the moment with the figure while it's drying, and just make sure that you go back over the miniature again. Because trust me, you will always... Oh, what are you doing, you weirdo? Get back up there. Because you will always miss something. You just do. This is not above questioning. It is okay. And when you miss crap, you just admit it. You just admit, hey, I missed something. That's okay. I can fix it. And it's better to do it now during this stage of the paint job than go to like a shop tournament and then realize, oh boy, I missed that big time. And this is actually something that's fairly common in spray priming, in my experience. It's fairly common for me. Not sure about everyone else's experience, but in my experience, you will always miss something with spray priming because you thought you did it good. You didn't double check your work. And because of that, just fix it in post. Okay. Okay. Can you stand up and not fall down, you weird little green man? All right. Now that we've done that, now that we've gotten them pretty well all base coated, it's time to figure out the process of what color of paints I want to use for this. Now, parts of me wants to do something a little more striking with red, like using this bold pyrrole red. But I also do think that this is something I do a lot, is I use a lot of red. It's one of my favorite colors to paint with. Between the Blood Angels, some Stormcast Eternals, just if I can use red, I do tend to use that a lot. So I think what I'm going to do is say, not today. But I do know I don't use purple enough in my color schemes. And if this is just a Blitzbowl team, I might as well find a way to do something with that. But then again, well, okay, yeah, we're gonna be fine using purple here. Okay, so we know we're using purple, but I'm thinking we could also go with a little Jacaro orange. Go Jacaro orange and do something a little more striking. So we're gonna take our little human thrower here. We're gonna grab a paintbrush, which I'm using for those of you that I didn't really see the color I'm using, and that's because I do very bad about showing what I'm doing in some ways. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by grabbing Nagaroth Knight and putting it on the base. Make sure it's in there. Okay. Which I just realized, well, actually, no, we'll worry about that later. Okay. So, what we're going to do, well, no, that's a good detailing brush. We're not using that. Okay. We're going to, might also help if I do this. Okay. So now what we're doing is we're taking the Nagaroth Knight, and we are going to apply that onto the Ork's armor plating. Now, an interesting thing to consider is whatever you're base coating with is going to have an effect, ultimately have an effect on whatever paint is going on top of it. So if you're using, like, let's say a dark green, and you're putting that over a black, the green is going to come out very, very dark. Whereas if you put it over a white, it's actually going to brighten it up a bit. What we're doing here is something a little, so not too dark, not too light, just a green. Here we go. Which, ooh. All right, there we go. Well, hello, Beerus. Hi. Uh, Kitty, 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 kitty. Silly kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty. Hmm. Yeah, there you go, baby. That's Beerus telling everybody hello. Let me fix that. She is a very friendly kitty. That's how she gives kisses, is rubbing up against things like that. Okay. So yeah, what we're doing here is painting. Yes, Beerus, the people are very grateful of your kisses. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do first, is paint the armor plates and most of the metallics purple. go. Okay. Okay, there we go. So yeah, just anywhere I'm seeing a metallic, we're basically going purple for it. Basically, these are orcs. I want them to have kind of a weird scheme. Something that's kind of funny, really. Okay, there we go. Now, I am getting purple on some bits I want to be green, but in the grand scheme of things, that's fine. That's fine. There's some things that we want green, some things we don't. The things that we don't want green, easy fix is to basically go over it again with whatever you chose to be the color. Although in this case, that was actually unnecessary as a fix, because that is just a shirt. Okay. So we're gonna now double check for any metallic bits that on the model. Ooh, yep, right on the back. Right there. We're gonna fix that right away. First things first, we need to cover the armor bits in purple. I have no idea why I'm choosing orange as a secondary color, other than the fact that I think it is going to be very striking. And in my personal opinion, orcs with striking color schemes in Blood Bowl and Blitz Bowl are a little more entertaining. Just because, like, you know, they're a very like they're a very staggering type of team in terms of like just their sheer physical ability, and the way that they want to rule the field of Blood Bowl. Okay, so that does not look like. Okay, so there we go. One thing I also love is that a shoe brand for athletes that they have is Orkaditas, which I think is pretty freaking cool. Orkaditas. It's silly. All right, so now that we have our little man painted up in purple, we're going to take some of that Jacaro orange. Just get that all up in there. And basically, I have these guys base coated. We're only going to, at least for this particular video, we're only really going to care about painting the one guy, and then I'm going to off-screen paint the rest of the team, and then hopefully get a Blitz Bowl video in soon. So what I'm going to do now is take the Jacaro, which this is going to have to be a too thin coats measure, but take the Jacaro, and we're going to paint this guy's, well, uniform pants up in orange, as well as his shirt, or his jersey. Yeah, the first things first, though. Get your colors painted up. Ooh, already seeing some purple we missed. There we go. I think this is going to be a very interesting and striking color scheme. Wait, is this just... Nah, probably not. Worry about that later, though. First things first. Gonna... There we go. Now, I think for this cloth in the front, we're going to paint that probably white, which white can be a very finicky color to paint. So I will go through a couple of processes of how to successfully paint that without half the frustration of it. Again, the trick for this part is nice, steady strokes. You can get a little orange or a little bit of a color you didn't want on the thing if you do it this way, because then later when it's dry, you can just go over it again with whatever it is that it's supposed to be. But if you get really fast and careless with it, unfortunately, it's going to be a little more of a problem of how much you're going to have to paint over it. And again, nice, easy strokes. When you're nearing a spot, you don't want the color to change because it is what it's supposed to be. But in a case of this variety, you know, steady, just like that, steady. Okay. So, basically, though, eventually we're going to start a Blitz Bowl League over at my local game store. And I would love to get the ball rolling with that, just for the sake of, you know, uh, just for the sake of getting some games in with some friends, making some new friends, and just having a general all around good time. Okay. That is supposed to be like that. Now this is where a detail brush really comes into handy. So the spot that's going to be difficult to get in around is around here in particular. I don't have the best, let's see. So like right there, very tiny. This is why we need detailing brushes. This is big enough for me to actually feel like it's fine to use this one. This is my number 2 Pro Synthetic paintbrush by Monument. Or actually, not sure. But the Pro series has been one of my favorites because like the colors come out really nice. This has been one I've been on a real big kick about recently is Dark Jade from their signature series, which Vince Venturella um you know did a little collab, and I'll figure more out about that later. But again, I really like it. So yeah, we're gonna paint in around there. Get that there. So yeah, basically though, delicate brush strokes in these kinds of situations because haste makes waste. And waste not, want not is very important in the miniature world in terms of like, being able to kind of stretch out your hobby supplies for as long as humanly possible. Because, wargaming is not a cheap hobby. It has its cheaper moments and games that can be cheap, but wargaming itself is not necessarily a cheap hobby. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be necessarily all that cheap. It just, you know, it needs to at least be affordable. And GW does have its affordable games. Like, I have a blast with Blitzball. because it is very price efficient as a product point. Let's see. Now, let's see. All right. I will say this color scheme is a little goofy. It's coming out a little goofy, but honestly, I think it's actually kind of fun that way when something comes out a little goofy. It's actually kind of cool. It gives the models a little more life and meaning, especially with a game like Blitz Bowl or Blood Bowl. If it's like 40K, it kind of for me depends on the faction if you're wanting to go goofy or not. Um, and even then, I don't have like high intolerance for goofy in 40K because like you can just see some really funny things out there. Like Clown Angron is just a barrel of laughs. All right. So while we let this little man's dry, I am going to quickly acquire a a drink of water, and I will be right back. So watch paint dry. All right, we are back, and apparently so is Beerus. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Yeah, are you a silly baby? See, look, everybody, Beerus is back. No, 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 no. We're not going to be showing that on stream. Goofy, goofy kitty. You are ridiculous, Beerus. You know that. And I do love you lots. But you are a goofball. And I love you, my little goofball. I love you, my little goofball. Okay, on you go. Thank you. Okay. All right, but my brother-in-law just got home from work. And I sadly could not hear his whole story because I didn't want to leave you guys on too long because, well, I am still figuring crap out on this thing. Okay, here we go. That that is how you get like paint everywhere if you're not careful. Now, we could do orange. Oh, well, yeah. Now, we could go about painting orange the on the wristbands, but I think to offset the orange, we're going to go back to purple. Okay, there we go. All right, get that purple on there nice and even. Now, I think what I am going to do for this angry green boy is take some Dark Angel's Contrast and kind of just put that in the recesses to shade this guy. Okay, do that. Get in here. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we need to go a little over this guy again with some green. So it looks like I got a little messy with it. There we go. There we go. There we go. And that is a wrap on that almost. Okay. Now I think what we're going to do for this metallic bit up here is, let's see. Okay. Okay. So shake that up a little. And put that in there. Now let's see. Put that in there like that. Okay. That's better. Okay. First thing we do is we are going to cover up metallic extra spiky bits like this. Okay. Okay. All right. Put that right in there. So what we're doing here is edge highlighting a little. For those of you that know that, I am sorry to say that, well, for the people that do know that, you know that. You know what I'm doing. For the people that don't know what I'm doing it for, in this case, it's to give the miniatures, like armor plating, a more played-in vibe. Kind of, okay, hold on. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Where is the little guy? Okay, there we go. Now, the next thing we're going to do here, the reason I got two different metallics out for this. Now, the problem is I don't really have a dry brush, and I'm a little saddened by this fact. But we're going to make this work anyways. Okay. I don't know how many people does what I'm doing here. We're all, you dab on a little bit of paint, like so. Take your finger, brush off some of it. If you do, I think it's a cool trick. Well, maybe not a cool trick, but a useful trick. A useful trick. Okay, but I digress. All right. Now, we're going to take Corax White, which the metallics I used, by the way, were Ironbreaker and Balthazar Gold for the metallics. But now, we're going to take some Corax White, which I used to not actually really like Corax White, but then they improved upon the recipe of how to make Corax White to where it, like, didn't just glop up. Like, you know what I mean. But for those of you that don't know, there was a time when Corax White was just an atrocious paint to work with. Like, you would get, like, maybe a handful of good uses out of it. And then, all of a sudden, like, if you didn't use it within months or whatever, it would, like, get really gloppy and disgusting. And, oh, boy, I do not miss using it. Which, the first thing and the only thing we're going to do for this particular step is we're just going to paint up that very nice little sash this fellow has. Because I am not being careful, I'm going to have to fix that mistake. Although, sometimes you can turn mistakes into opportunity. Now, in the case of the kind, it looks like the sash is literally what's holding this guy's armor plating together, which I think is aesthetically displeasing for me. So what we're gonna do after I, get this all together, let's see. There we go. Now we gotta get to lay other side. Gotta be careful. Now, usually the smart thing is to put white on last, but sometimes we just don't make smart decisions as hobbyists. So that's what we're gonna do for now. Let that dry out and then figure out. Now, we're gonna figure out what we're doing with these shoes. Now, I think what I'll do is go with a coat of, oh, right up over here. Here we go. XV88 for the shoes. Because again, we're doing the striking colors thing, so we'll do this for all of the leather. So yeah, we're gonna basically carefully, which, yeah, this needs a water to soften her up. There we go. Okay, clean the brush off so that way we don't have problems. Most important thing you can ever learn to do, by the way, is get some cheap brushes to learn how to take care of your paint brushes. The reason being, saves you a lot of money down the line. And there's just, in my opinion right now, not enough videos that talk about getting into the hobby. About, some of the steps you may need to take. And if there are videos out there that explain, how to, get into the hobby, I would gladly see those and watch those to be proven wrong about this. But, you know, when I grew up, I didn't really have the most amount of help learning about the hobby. Everything I know is something I've learned after the fact of learning or, painting and stuff. And what's word for it? Just learning after getting into the hobby. This is where you were kind of going wrong. If you do this, this comes out better. And everything I've learned on the fly. I've learned secondhand. I didn't have someone really holding my hand and teaching me how to do all of this. And honestly, having, little videos that can tell you, like bits and pieces about getting started into the hobby, I think could go a long way for a long time. So I think we as a community need to start having more talks about these kinds of subjects, because like I've seen Ninjon's video about doing commission jobs, which is more or less how I kind of started doing this, like trying to make something out of this. And I am steadily not doing great at it because I don't do enough in my opinion. So this is me saying I have got to keep trying to make it work. There we go. All right, now it looks like there is just a little bit of, orange that still needs to be painted on this guy. So we're going to get the detail brush here, start working on it. Sneaky kitty. Oh, jeez. Hi. If you can see that. Virus, now is not the best time to be doing this, I'm going to be honest. Excuse you, madam. She will do anything for attention and food. Mostly food. Mostly food. Alright, so there we go. Well, I love my kitty. She's great. She's just, as cats can be, very annoying. Because they tend to just do whatever they like. Yeah, I'm talking about you, you hairball. Here is what we're going to do for some funsies. Okay. Okay, yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to slowly piece this crap together. Okay, so Trimming down. Okay. So part of freehanding numbers and stuff is patience. A lot of patience. Okay. Work on that a little more later. We will come back to that. Okay, so what we're going to do now there we go. Sorry I wasn't saying anything, but basically though, when doing edge work like this, it takes a very patient and steady hand. Go. All right, now let's see. There we go. Looks like we need to touch up the green a bit. Okay, there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Throwing a little purple there, there, right about there. Okay, there we go. Some touch-ups here and there, but it's not that bad. So what we're gonna do is do that. Be easy enough to fix those slight mistakes. Okay, there we go. Okay. Goes there. Okay. Come on back here. All right. So now we're gonna once again do a little green touch up. Right there. Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm forgetting the top leather. Easy to fix. I think that's where we'll leave that, is just have those orange bits holding that together be just that. That's pretty good. Now, whoa, whoops, one of my modeling tools. Now, what was I doing? Oh, right. Okay, now let's see. Now we're going to use a little bit of this Pro Acryl Light Umber. Ma'am, can I help you? And we're going to say that this pig skin or squig skin is a little bit of an aged one. It's seen a lot of sunlight. It's seen a lot of play. It's, a more vibrant brown or vibrant light brown. There we go. Okay. Looks like, yeah, that's fine. Okay. We're going to let the old pigskin dry there. And now we're going to grab a little Mephiston Red. One of my all-time favorite shades of red. All right. And give him little, probably not going to be able to see that, little red eyes. Little dinky red eyes. Some more orange up in there to cover up the green bits that don't need to be green. Ooh. Okay, now we're going to use a little Dark Angels contrast. Really liquidate this up a bit. And like I said earlier in the video, we're going to get a little bit of that into the recesses. Just dab it in. Contrast paint is a very low, low thickness kind of a paint. And it is meant to darken things. Okay. Normally, you use a flesh shade. Orcs do not have a natural flesh color. So, we're going to do that with them. said, we got to get those into his various recesses. Now, past that point, we're going to need to do up his teeth, aren't we? And I have a plan for that. But first things first, got to paint up his poor little head, because it looks like a little sparkle of metallics was able to get in there, and we don't want that. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll just hit all my brushes simultaneously. That's a good way to get things done. Okay. Gentle. 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 Now, time to think about how we're doing rotten teeth. And I think what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this wraith bone from GW. So, wraith bone. Take a little bit of that. And we kind of want to get some grime and filth up in there. So I think take a little bit of the umber from Pro Acryl. Take a little of the XV. Mix that together. Put the mixture off to the side. There we go. Switch up brushes. Okay. Now that we've got that in there, we're going to take... No, definitely not that. I know I have that paint here somewhere. What are you? Oh, yeah. For that. Hmm. Oh. That's where you've been. Found that. There you are. So we're going to take a little Reichland Flesh Shade. And grime up the teeth just a hair more. Now we're going to take a little more of the lead belcher, do some final touch-ups on this miniatures football before we finish it off. At least in terms of, you know, playable tabletop miniature. Okay. 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 Go. Ooh. Did not notice this before. Okay. Now we're on the final touches of this once colorless menace. And now for the last and final step to kind of clean things up here. It's going to require one of these kinds of brushes and a little Pro Acryl Black. Because now we are on the cleanup step. Okay. Basically, oh, heaven's sake. Which, now that I actually have this thing, all right. Now, the thing about this Pro Acryl stuff is it is not a particularly shiny paint. It will leave your paints with a matte finish, which, if the goal is to get to a nice matte finish, perfect. If not, just something to keep in mind. So if you do only paint like half of the base, you're going to want to paint the other half too, because it will come out half matte, half not. There we go. Oops. So, here we go. Okay. And it only took me an hour and a half, roughly. Minus like 5 minutes. So, what I'm going to do when I, close out this video is I'm going to film a video for TikTok to post more or less what this guy looks like up close and personal. I will leave a a link in this video's description for the purposes of finding the TikTok. But I'm also posting this on TikTok to let people know about the video. So without further ado, everyone, that has been another fun and fine episode of the Washed Out Hobbyist. As always, I'm your host, Rob, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.